Awesome. So today we're going to talk about something really important, and that is how to identify the best projects in the crypto space and in the NFT space. And we're going to look at a few of the most important metrics, and that is we're going to look at market cap, we're going to look at where the biggest opportunities lie. We're going to start out by looking at it from a big picture, 30,000 foot view. Now, once we get the lay of the land and we start to see patterns emerge, we're going to use that information to find the next really good project. So let's jump in and head over to CoinGecko. So now we're on the homepage of CoinGecko, and this gives us a lot of really important information. So the first thing it does is it shows us what the market cap is of the entire crypto space. Okay, the market cap is essentially all of the coins times their price combined, and that's their market cap. And we could see that it's about $2.21 trillion. Now, to put this in perspective, how big is that in your opinion? Does that sound really big? Well, let's take a look. Now, when we look at the largest companies in the world, okay, we'll start with Apple. They're at about 2.8 trillion. Microsoft is at 2.3. And so on. So even you come down to something like Meta, it's about 900 billion. So that kind of puts it in perspective. Like the entire crypto space is smaller than Apple. Okay. Now, when we look at coins specifically, we look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin is at like $823 billion. Ethereum's at $422 billion. When you put them together, they're about half of the entire crypto space. What this means is that half of all the value in crypto is in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the other half is in all the other coins combined. That's a really, really important insight. It gives us a couple of pieces of information. The first thing it means, and this is really, really important, it means that Bitcoin and Ethereum are liquidity providers for the other cryptocurrencies. What this means is that when money first comes into the space, and you could see it in the volume as well to a large degree, it comes into Bitcoin, it comes into Ethereum, okay? And then people buy these two assets up first. Hopefully they have gains, and then they turn their gains into other projects. And so you're going to kind of see this pattern in crypto over and over and over again. What this means is that when prices for Bitcoin and Ethereum go down, people start selling. When people start selling, okay, that means the entire space is shrinking in terms of how much money there is in it, and people are selling other projects too. Liquidity is drying up. So in a really big way, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the first to move, and they're the first to signal where the market is headed. Okay. The other thing that we know from this information is that in order for Bitcoin to double, okay, it would need to get another $823 billion to come into the market. That's really hard to do, okay? What's a lot easier to do is for, let's say, the number 100 coin, Frax shares. It would be a lot easier for Frax shares to go up 10x than for Bitcoin to double, okay? Because for them to go up 10x, they would only have to go to $10 billion, okay? They're at 1.2 billion, another 9 billion would have to come in. And it's a lot easier to get 9 billion to come into a project and for the price to get pushed up than it is for 823 billion to come into the market. And this leads us to a very important insight. So there's a direct relationship between market cap and safety. So the bigger the market cap, the safer the investment is. And all these are very risky investments. Okay. And the other thing is that the bigger the market cap is, the less potential has to go up. The smaller the market cap, the more risky it is. However, there's tremendously higher upside. It's way easier to do a 10x on a $1 billion market cap than to do a 3 or a 4 or a 5x on a $1 trillion market cap. So that's important going forward. Now, the other thing we want to do, and this is a really good habit to get into, is to look at any patterns that you see. So when we look at the top 10 coins, let's look at if we see any patterns. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, Tether, Solana, USD Coin, Cardano, XRP, Polkadot, Terra, Avalanche. I mean, there's a very clear pattern. Most of these are L1, these are layer 1 solutions. Ethereum, Binance, Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, Avalanche, etc. These are like layer 1 solutions. And then the other two big ones, Tether and USD coin, are stable coins. So basically, that's the entirety of the top 10, mostly, excluding XRP. Chainlink ties into all these other projects. Phantom is a really exciting project going forward. Go Axe Infinity. Okay, this is like the first project that is in the gaming metaverse space. So now let's do the next thing. Is we want to look at all of the different categories so we could decide where we want to invest our time. Okay. And this is a list of top cryptocurrencies by category. And it's also going to give us the market cap. So it's going to give us an idea of how big that category is. And so again, we already kind of saw this, right? When we're looking at the top 10 coins, most of them were in the smart contract layer 1 solutions. So here's number 1, smart contract layer 1 solutions. All of them combined are about the same size as Bitcoin. Okay, so to put that in perspective, and this includes Ethereum. Okay, so then after that, you have number 2 is the Polygon ecosystem. That's Matic, Binance, Avalanche, Moonriver stablecoins, decentralized finance, etc. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of where the largest amount of the investment is. And this is the market caps that correspond to it. Solana ecosystem, Polkadot, Terra. Okay, what you want to do is you want to pick one of these and you want to become an expert at it. So by picking one of these, what's going to let you do is, instead of having to keep your eye on everything, okay, and having your attention distracted and in 1,000 places at once, it could be at one place. And when you really zoom in on something, what that's going to let you do is it's going to let you find the best opportunities in that area. Okay, and it's going to keep the noise out, because what happens in this space is that you have constantly great projects being thrown at you all the time, and there's just literally not enough time in the day to examine every single good opportunity. So what you want to do is you want to narrow it down to the best opportunities. So you want to pick one of these and then do a deep dive. So that's what we're going to do now. And I'm going to pick, let's start with NFTs. So in the NFT space, there's a few different ways to think about it. Okay, one is you could look at metaverses like the Sandbox, the Decentraland. Okay, and these metaverses are directly tied into NFTs, because NFTs are going to exist and already exist in the metaverse, and there are items that people could buy and sell, exchange, lend, get yield on, etc. Okay, the other place that they exist very deeply is in games like Axe Infinity. Okay, Gala. So you're getting some idea of how this is coming together, okay? Because in games, what we see is that, well, the old model used to be that you would go and buy a game, okay? And then the update model where they would give you the game for free, and then you would buy like tokens, and you would use those tokens to buy in-game items, okay? And that was really big boondoggle for game developers, because now the game is, you don't have to spend anything for it up front. You're just playing it, and when you play it and you need something and you want to save time, or you want to get that cool little object within the game, you just pay for it and you get it, and then it makes the game more fun for you, etc. Okay. Now the problem with that is that a lot of players played this, and now they get bored with these objects and they can't turn them into anything. They can't give them to another player. They can't sell them. So it's kind of like a sunk cost. And now where gaming has gone is like in this play to earn model, where the game developer saying, hey, you're the community, you get to own the game, you get to own the objects in the game, they're your objects, they're your digital assets, and then you could buy and sell them to other players in the game, or even trade them with people that are playing other games. So you might be playing, Fortnite, and they might be playing Roblox, and then you might want to exchange items between games. And so that's where we're headed, okay? And there's an enormous power in it, because what it does is it actually creates a market and an entire economy within these games, okay? And Axie proved out this model. So now let's look at Axie just to get an idea of what we're looking at. Right now it's trading at $80 roughly, and its market cap is $5 billion. Okay, now let's compare it to other gaming companies so we understand how big or small 5 billion is. So these are the largest video game companies by market. Now Microsoft and Tencent and Sony, they do a lot of things, okay? It's not just gaming. Nintendo, it's at 54 billion. Roblox is at 51. So it kind of gives you an idea of how much these, gaming companies are going for. Zynga is at 6 billion. EA Sports is at 37. So Unity Software, 35 billion. So you kind of get an idea of what the potential is for this sort of market. And so if Axie really builds out, okay, there's no reason why this number can't, double or triple or quadruple. Now, what are some of the other games that we could look at? So Axie is one really good example. So now once you find one really good example and you dig deep into that example to find out why it worked, okay, what is it about Axie that worked so well? Once you figure that out, you could apply it to other games. So now let's look at a few of the other categories. And we're going to see some overlapping because these are overlapping things, right? So again, when we look at the Metaverse coins, we're looking Axie, the Sandbox, the Central Engine, DeFi Kingdoms, Illuvium, UFO Gaming, Yield Guild Games, Starlink, Vulcan Forged, Star Atlas. Okay, now look at some of these games and what the size of these is. Okay, we'll look at UFO Gaming, 495 million. So it's a fairly small sized game. And we go really down here and now you're, in these really small games, 5, 6 million, 3 million, unknown. So the lower you go on these lists, the more risky it'll be. And so you really want to do your homework. But when you get something down here, it doesn't take a lot for it to double, triple, or even 10x. So that kind of gives you an idea of the top metaverse. Now we'll do the same thing for Play to Earn. These are Play to Earn, Gala, DeFi Kingdoms. This one is very exciting. We're going to go over it in a little bit. Illuvium. The cool thing about Illuvium is it allows you to take your NFTs and combine them with other NFTs. Okay, it also lets developers update NFTs. So imagine that you're playing a game and you have a sword and now you upgraded your sword. You would need it to physically change. And that's what Illuvium does. It allows NFTs to physically change, to update. So that's kind of cool. And so that's what you want to do. You want to get familiarized with these, and then you want to get an idea of how big they are and what their potential is. Here's a couple that really catch my eye. One of them is D-Race, okay? The other way I think about this is, what are some things that are already existing in the world that are definitely going to come into the metaverse? Okay, one of them is obviously going to be like the video game stuff we've already talked about. It's already happening. Another one is the casino stuff. People are going into like the Decentraland or other metaverses. They're going to the casino and they're able to gamble and place bets on different things. Okay, so the gambling is definitely going to be there. And D-Racer kind of falls into that line because what it is a horse racing game. You can race horses, earn crypto, breed horses, make super duper fast horses, race them and win. So that kind of takes something that we do in real life and it brings it into the metaverse. And these are the sort of things that you want to be looking at. Chain Games, Chain Guardians, these are two good projects. And again, they're kind of smaller, as you can see.